Aid to Bible Understanding, published in 1971 by Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania. And we'll be looking at page 1669. As you can see here, though, in the front cover, it is indeed Watchtower publication, put out in 1971. And we'll go to page 1669 under the heading, in the first column, the Word as a title, and all the way down on the last paragraph we read, a translation by a former Roman Catholic priest, Johannes Greber, 1937 edition, renders the second appearance of the word God in the sentence as a God. So who is Johannes Greber, and why are they, the Watchtower, using him as a reference to point out the validity of the New World Translation in John 1:1, where it says, in the beginning was a Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. So here we have the Word. Who is he according to John? In the 1962 Watchtower publication, The Word, Who is he according to John, on page 5. And right inside the cover there, see all the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, copyright 1962. And right there, right about there, you see there's a footnote marked. See that little mark, and we go down. Go down. Yep, there it is. And it reads, the New Testament, a new translation and explanation based on the oldest manuscripts by Johannes Greber, a translation from German into English, edition of 1937. The front cover of this bound translation being stamped with a golden cross. There he is again, 1962. This is 9 years earlier than the Aid to the Bible Understanding. Right there you can read, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. This was with God in the beginning. Everything came into being through the Word, and without it nothing created sprang into existence. John 1:1-3. And there again, there's the footnote referring to Johannes Greber's translation from German into English, the 1937 edition of the New Testament, a new translation and explanation based on the oldest manuscripts. But again, we're still wondering who this Johannes Greber is. Watchtower published this in 1965. Make sure of all things, hold fast to what is fine. But we still don't know who Johannes Greber is and why he is used as a source for the New World Translation. Make sure of all things, hold fast to what is fine. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. But here we go on page 489. Again, he is used as justification for the use of a God in John 1:1 on page 489. Under the heading Modern Translations and Greek Grammar make meaning clear. Says John 1:1, I guess AT there means an American translation. So it says, in the beginning the Word existed, the Word was with God, and the Word was divine. Okay. As we go down a little more, the next paragraph, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. And that is from the New Testament, a new translation and explanation based on the oldest manuscripts, a translation from German into English, 1937, by Johannes Greber. And down below that, the New World Translation, side by side. In the beginning, the Word was, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. So again, we want to make sure of all things, of course. And here in Watchtower, 1955, October 1st, page 603, paragraph 33, comes as no surprise that one Johannes Greber, a former Catholic clergyman, has become a spiritualist and has published the book entitled Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Its Purposes, 1932, McCoy Publishing Company, New York. In its foreword, he makes the typical misstatement, the most significant spiritualistic book is the Bible, for its principal contents hinge upon the message of the beyond to those existing in the present. Again, 1955, October 1st, Watchtower, page 603, and you can, page 603, paragraph 33, and you can go to the online library of the Watchtower and read this for yourself. So that's who Johannes Greber is. He is a spiritist, a spiritualist, a former Catholic priest, and he wrote a book on communication with the spirit world. Very interesting. He knew this in 1955. What is this? Here it is, the New Testament by Greber that the Watchtower used to justify its rendering of John 1:1. And look, there's the golden cross that's stamped on the cover, just as the publication said there. Turn inside cover, there it is, the New Testament, a new translation based on the oldest manuscripts by Johannes Greber, translation 1980. It's copyrighted in 1937. Inside on page 15, I myself was a Catholic priest, and until I was 48 years old had never so much as believed in the possibility of communicating with the world of God's spirits. The day came, however, when I involuntarily took my first step toward such communications and experienced things that shook me to the depth of my soul. After I had taken the first step, I could not stop. I must go forward. I must have enlightenment. On I went, treading carefully and bearing in mind the words of the Apostle Paul, test all things, keep that which is good. All right, down here, my experiences are related in a book that has appeared in both German and English and bears the title Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Its Purposes. Many of the readers of this book who have sought communication with God's spirit world have had experiences similar to my own and found the same truths that I found. I availed myself of this contact with the source of truth to seek enlightenment above all in regard to the text of the Bible as we know it today. For on the occasion of my first experience with the world of divine spirits, my attention had been called to the fact that the books of both the Old and New Testament contained a great deal of spurious matter, which had given rise to the many erroneous ideas prevailing in the Christian churches of our day. Subsequently, I learned about these falsifications in detail. This led me to a close study of the manuscripts of the New Testament. I found that the text of Codex Beziae Cantabrigensis, which unfortunately has several gaps, most nearly approaches the truth. It was consequently the one that I used as the basis for my translation. In the rare instances in which a text pronounced correct by the divine spirits can be found in none of the manuscripts available today, I have used the text as it was given to me by those spirits. But in my explanation, I have always been careful to indicate which passages are derived from this source, meaning the spirits interpreting scripture for Mr. Greber there, which the Watchtower has no problem using for justifying its rendering of John 1:1. Who is Johannes Greber? He's an ex-priest who's into spiritism, apparently, communication with spirits. Watchtower, 1956, February 15, page 110 through 111, paragraph 10. Says Johannes Greber in the introduction of his translation of the New Testament, copyrighted in 1937, quote, I myself was a Catholic priest, and until I was 48 years old had never as much as believed in the possibility of communicating with the world of God's spirits. The day came, however, when I involuntarily took my first step toward such communication and experienced things that shook me to the depths of my soul. Ellipses. My experiences are related in a book that has appeared in both German and English and bears the title Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Its Purpose. Page 15, paragraph 2-3. In keeping with his Roman Catholic extraction, Greber's translation is bound with a gold leaf cross on its stiff front cover. In the foreword of his aforementioned book, ex-priest Greber says, the most significant spiritualistic book is the Bible. Under this impression, Greber endeavors to make his New Testament translation read very spiritualistic. So there you go. They knew about this since 1955, obviously, and 56, and still quoting him all the way up. It appears he is a spiritist, and the Watchtower used his spirit-influenced translation of the New Testament to justify its own rendering of John 1:1.